Okay, all right. So welcome to Mastering Google's Ecosystem. Thank you for joining us today. This is a continuation of these sessions I've been doing about AI and the various ecosystems that are out there and using the different platforms. So, for of you that don't know me, I'm Wayne Hinds, and I'm a technology specialist and AI consultant and an author of the book Reclaim Your Digital Gold, which is all about your own personal data and how data is really food for AI nowadays and changing our world as we're in the digital world. In fact, I'm updating that book. The book was published before ChatGPT was released on the world, and it was published in 2022. And I'm updating the book, and the new release of the book, a second edition of the book, is coming out um, this summer, actually in a few weeks. So keep an eye out for that. So that's a little bit about me. I'm just going to jump right into the session here, and just going to focus just on the ecosystem, the Google ecosystem. We've already talked about Claude's ecosystem at length in a number of sessions, and so this one we want to just start with just laying the land and the foundation for Google's ecosystem. So today's agenda, we're really going to focus more on, and we may not use this full time here. It's just a guide. Just going to focus on kind of the big picture of Google's ecosystem, why it matters, and then we'll do a guide sort of through not all of them, but just take a couple of them because we'll expand on them in more detail later, and we can talk, take some questions. Feel free if you have any questions to put them in the chat, and we'll definitely get to them as we go, and certainly at the end of the session. Okay. All right. So just jump right into it. Why does this matter? 40% of AI quality comes from context, not from smarter tools. And that's a Harvard Business School research. The thing about this statement is that in anything we do, it's important to have a context, and context is everything, obviously, because if you're doing something and you're not sure what the context is, the proper context is, you could go down the wrong pathway. And this, statement really is really a profound statement for that reason, because the same thing with AI. It's not so much about the tools. It's really about context, because there are a number of tools out there, and especially in the times we're in right now, where the tools are constantly changing and new updates, as well as you've got competition of the big, of various tools. So it's important to know how to use the tools, but more importantly, is giving it the right context. So Google's AI already lives inside the tools that we pay for on a monthly basis or we use on a regular basis, and we're not. Many people are simply just not aware of the vast amount of AI tools that Google has available. In fact, Google's Deep Mind, and there's a wonderful movie out there about this. Google's Deep Mind, which was one of the first AI discovery, was responsible for finding and developing the AI that we have today, which was an intelligent predictive system, and that was under the original Google's DeepMind, and that predictive system is, we still have around today, which we don't realize to the extent we do, is that is whenever you have you go type a text as an example, and it predicts the next word or the next sentence or whatever predictive systems that you're using, that you find yourself using. That's how it all started, was with Google's DeepMind in the very beginning. And as I said, there's a great movie out there, actually, because in that movie it talked about how that AI learned, and eventually it actually defeated the chess champion of the world, because it was very targeted, very specific. It wasn't about doing multiple things. It was doing about one thing and one thing only, and that was to play that chess game. It learned to play the chess game, master it, and it beat the world chess champion. And China's figured out China's, I think it's called WeGo. I forgot the name of it now, but yeah, China's uh, um, one of the most well-known games in China, and very sophisticated, very challenging. And actually, AI was able to defeat that. So so that's just going back to AI's um, in terms of the ecosystem, and just laying the foundation here, and just talking about why this matters. So the whole suite of AI is really built around documents and data and branding. But most businesses owners use only a fraction of it. I mean, many of us probably we use Gmail, we use Google Docs, we use the Google files and all that storage, but we're not aware of these other capabilities. Of course, Google for search is a standard nowadays, right? So today we're going to do the full roadmap, right? We can so you can see nothing stays hidden in this particular webinar. And as I said, if you have any questions, please put it in the chat. We'll make sure and get to that. We're just going to focus on the ecosystem, the products that make up the ecosystem at a high level, and we're not going to go very deep into those. But at least you'll come away from this knowing very clearly, what the complete offering is for Google's AI systems. So here you go, one ecosystem, and there's really 5 major jobs. I like to put these in buckets, okay, just like I did with the other with Claude AI when we did that session. So Google is tremendously successful with the assist and the automate bucket, and that or category, and so Gemini falls under that. Gems. Many of you probably have heard of Gemini, but perhaps you haven't heard of Gems or the AI Studio or Opal, and you're gonna find out what those are shortly. And then there is the research and learn, which is NotebookLM. This is a fascinating one of the most powerful hidden and free tool that's available right now that many people are not aware of its capabilities and what it can do for them, for their business and for their day-to-day research or educational, if you're in the educational field. And then Learn Your Way is another product that they have that falls under some of these. It's interesting enough that they were actually developed by a spinoff of Google, or was acquired by Google and merged in. So some of them were even in a beta stage for a little while before they became real products to the public. But a lot of this is readily available to you, and I'm going to show you how to access that. In creating visuals, Nano Banana is becoming, famous right now, not only for the name, but what it can do, the capabilities of the images that it can create, and how powerful and how realistic those are. And then Imagen is another, Whisk, and Mixboard, and these all fall under that category, as I said, of creative to create your visuals. And then there's a video. Video is rapidly developing right across the board by various developers and producers of AI tools. And so Google is at the forefront of this, and their Google Flow, which is VO3. There was some movies were produced and recently with VO3. And I'll speak to some of this and show some snippets, but truly the realistic videos that's being produced right now with these tools, like VO and VO3 is the latest version of that, is unbelievable. You just cannot see the difference between reality and an artificial. And then there's also music. They also have a flow music where you can create music under that category. And then there is Run Your Business. Pomeli, one of my favorites actually, and Pomeli is really nice because it's a great way to use to create your brands and leverage that in other areas of your business. So I'll share a little bit about that a bit more. All right, and then Stitch, and then of course Workspace AI. Some of us may be aware of that. So anyway, we'll just walk through at a high level these, and as I said, you'll get an idea of the full ecosystem and then we can take it from there in terms of how deep we go from there. So let's start with the first AI assistant. Okay, and this is basically Gemini. Gemini is Google's flagship AI assistant, and this is just like your all the other LMs. Okay, it's a chat interface where you interact with it. It'll do research. It's got access, obviously, to the full internet, and it can chat with you. Write. Remember, you can also talk to it too. Through the microphone. It analyzes or reasons and create text and image. So this is really the centerpiece, as it says here that it's a flagship. Right, and then you've got built-in microphone. It's got browser. It's connected to your account, your Google account. Remember, we're using Google for the most part without realizing what else is behind the scenes, what else is happening. And so this is where the power comes in when you start realizing all the other things that are available to you while you're using Google. And then, of course, it's really the engine that's powering the whole ecosystem. Gemini is. And then Gemini Gems. This is a custom AI agents. Okay, and so here you have custom AI agents. There's no code required. You're not it does everything for you to speak to it. Put your prompt in. Everything. All of these are prompt based, of course. Okay, built-in reusable expert once. Okay, and use it forever. So you create an agent, you give it, the instructions of what you want it to do, and so on, and away it goes. All right, and you give it all your reference files, and it will essentially answer your custom GPT, just like Claude project. So it's it's similar. You can see some of these similarities across platforms. They just got their own brand and they've got their own way in which they go about positioning the content. But in the context of creativity, each of these tools fall into that, and you have agents in some cases, or you have projects, or you have ways of organizing that information. And so Gems, it really is just this is where the agents, your agents would live. Okay. So now to build and experiment. This is where you get into the Google Studio, and Google Studio is very comprehensive, all right? And it's built on the DeepMind models, as I mentioned before. How that started. Google AI started under the DeepMind brand there, and so AI Studio is really Google's newest models. And it's a free playground essentially for the latest AI models. You get test your text, you can do images, AI. It's really an interface where all of these the things that we're talking about today, you can find for the most part most of them under the studio. And then of course it's audio and video all in one place. Okay, so recently Google brought them all together, all of these pieces under the ecosystem, and they put a face on it and called it Google AI Studio. And then Opal is no code AI mini apps. And this is where you can turn your ideas into apps, app generation. All right, we showcase some of that under Claude, and now you're going to see this under Google. So can build a small AI powered apps in minutes, and no code required. You're really just giving it prompts. Of course, having an intelligent prompt. And when we talk about prompt, we did share and how to structure prompt in one of the sessions we did. That still carries forward here. All right, so proper prompting is important. But again, you can also have the tool give you the prompt, and so we the same thing applies here. So great for automation and simple internal tools. All right, makes sense of everything, or sorry, anything. This is where NotebookLM is, in my opinion, is heads above many of the tools like it. In fact, I think it stands apart. And I'll show you an example of that shortly. But it's your AI research partner, right? And so it's very specialized. It's researching. It'll go out and research and pull together information for you. Yes, all the LMs do that, but this is unique in how it presents the information back to you. It's an AI research partner. You upload your PDFs, your articles, your videos. Again, videos can be anything. It could be a link, could be large videos, okay, and you get instant summary. So it basically imagine if you need to summarize a document, a very large document, a contract. You want to summarize, bunch of learnings, books, whatever, and you can just feed it into this, and it's instantly summarize that for you. So it can also generate podcast style audio, which is my favorite here, right? And there's a mind map and study guide. So it's really a great way to go through a treasure trove of information. Right. So that's NotebookLM. Okay, and another product is Learn Your Way, which is a personalized learning, and essentially it turns dense material into learning path that build for you. So adapts explanations to you actually learning them. So it's really just a great way for you to apply the way that you learn, and it adapts to you essentially. All right, so it's a very creative way of interacting with the LM in the way that you would learn. All right, and then I mentioned this earlier in images on demand. So Nano Banana is, leading the pack right now in many ways on creating images, or right up there in terms of competition as of today. So it's an AI image generator, and and editing. You can edit those images too, and you can create and edit images by simply describing the image. It's fast, precise, ideal for thumbnails and social visuals. So in the past, we had images that were being created, and this is goodness, it's not that long ago, perhaps even last year or so. You were having images that were poor quality, or you would have they called AI hallucination, because it had, if you see a hand, you may see a six finger on it or something like that. All of that is the past. I mean, the AI is developing so rapidly, and creating images that are so real right now that it's hard to distinguish between the reality of the real versus AI created. And Nano Banana does just that. And then there's Google Imagen, and so this is a photorealistic image model where Google's high fidelity studio quality image generator, best for polished, realistic marketing photography. And so, you hire a photographer to do a lot of these things, where now you can do this in with these tools, and hard pressed to think that it was done by an AI and not a photographer. So the change of that's happening so much across the industries of the impact on AI is incredible, and photography is one of those that's falling really quickly, because it can be done instantly by these tools. And these are some of those that we just talked about. Remix and ideate. So this category here is Whisk is really combines images that into one, and essentially you blend up to 3 images into a single new scene. So talk about innovation and creativity. Imagine if you've got a scenic background or something. You've taken a great picture somewhere, and nowadays, or in the past, you may have actually taken yourself, a picture of you, and you want to superimpose yourself into that scene. And maybe you want to put your pet in it or something like that. I'm just making up examples here right now. Well, that's a blended scene. And you use tools to do that in the past. Well, now you can talk to AI, and it can essentially do that for you. And so you mix object styles and settings visually. So that's under Whisk, and there's so much more that Whisk can do, but this is the core that fits that particular brand. And then Mixboard, an AI mood board and ideas. And under this, it's a visual canvas for brainstorming with AI. So you're interacting with AI and coming up with creativity, creative stuff that you just want to play around with and see what it can do. And so it's a great way of being just having fun, just having fun with the tools. So you collect, you remix, and you expand your ideas into imaginary. All right. So now let's bring it to life. Okay, and so this is where the Google Flow of filmmaking comes into play, which is AI. VO3 was one of those that was released, a couple of years ago, and it was kind of under the radar, and then it just took off. And last year, it was producing high level quality Hollywood style movies in clips of 15 seconds or 3 seconds or 8 seconds. And now you can do a lot more. But VO is on version 3, I believe, at this point, and it generates realistic video clips from really just giving it a text or giving it an image. And of course, Google's Creative Studio is great for storytelling. So this is really, I mean, the quality of the output of those videos, as I said, is Hollywood style type movies, clips that you can create. And then there's music. I mentioned that earlier. It's in terms of what you can do with music, compose and complete tracks with AI Studio. For those of you that have been playing around or heard a lot of the AI music, they are incredible. I mean, incredibly powerful and real, and hard to believe that it's AI generated with there's no artist behind it. And it's Google has the leader right now in that space is Sono. Okay. And so Sono is essentially, you can go to that and you can put in a prompt and create your own music. Well, Google Flow Music has a similar tool that allows you to do that. So no instruments or production skills required. What you're doing is you're just speaking to it, the song you want to create, and you can make some selections, some custom selections, and away you go. All right, in the area of marketing and design, Pomeli, great for on-brand marketing content. It creates marketing content that stays on brand. So, if you had, for example, a certain brand that for your business or your project you're working on, you want it to stick with, whether it be colors, it be looks, but, just feel, logos, all that. You want to feed it into Pomeli, and it will remember that and create some very powerful and great marketing content for you. So it learns your brand, voice, and style, and then presents back to you those marketing material that really just lines up with that brand. So talk about context. What we talked about in the very beginning. Context is very important, and so that's exactly what this does. Is puts your brand in that context, or adds context to your brand. All right, and so Stitch is another one, and that turns your ideas into UI. So if you thinking of creating a user interface, you have something in mind you just want to play around with. Let's say you have something you want to give to a developer, and you're not really sure, so you want to create a concept. Well, you can use Stitch to design an app or web interface, and then say, okay, this is what I have in mind. I want it to be like this, and then hire a developer to create it. So it's like nowadays the terminology is vibe coding. It's a vibe design tool. Okay, idea for doing fast layouts or layouts really fast. And then the last one is the Google AI workspace, which brings it all together: your AI and Gmail, Docs, and Sheets. Now, a lot of people aren't aware that even within your own Gmail account, there's an AI icon there. You can ask it to go and search for, you talk to it, you can text it, and it comes on as default. You can turn it off, but it comes on a default, and it always there, searching your email. So you can go through it. You can say, for example, go through my emails and find every receipt, all the receipts of, I've gone to a conference, a concert, or business, or event, or personal event, or a specific time frame. And imagine sorting through all your emails to find a lot of that stuff. Just using that as an example. Well, now you can you can do that very easily with AI, just rummaging right through in seconds through your emails for you. And of course, it'll do the same thing with docs and sheets. So it also, in addition to that, it can draft and reply to emails for you in your own voice. It can summarize long documents and threads instantly. It can turn plain questions into spreadsheets, formulas, and it can build a whole slide deck for you from a single with a simple outline. All right, and this is already included basically in those workspace plans. So the workspace plan is an upgrade from the regular Google standard that you have when you're using Gmail and so on. But if you are paying for a plan with Google, typically if you're paying for a monthly plan with the increased storage, for example, some of these things come together, as well as you can pay for the workspace separately. All right, but even on their workspace, you can have your emails that's branded to your business, and have even a professional email address attached to that too. Okay, so where do we start? Again, we're just gonna stay the high level here, and then I'll just show you a couple of things, and then we'll wrap this up. But we're gonna open up Gemini. We're gonna show you a couple of things. We're gonna open up a NotebookLM, all right, and then we'll wrap up after that. So let me just share my screen, and if you have any questions, feel free to just put them in the chat, and I will get to them. But before I'm going to pause my screen. For those of you that okay, under Gemini, you can just go to Google Gemini. You can type Google Gemini, or you can just type in Gemini, and it'll take you directly here. All right. And so under there, you have your menu options on the left-hand side here, your icons, okay, which really is just a list of the various things that you can do. You can create a new chat. You can search, your existing chat. You can do images. This is for images, or you can choose videos, and I'm going to do that shortly. So this is, creating images, or you can create videos, and each of these have their own templates that you can choose from, or you can just create your own. So it just, it's just giving you some ideas that you can create. So here, some of these are like cartoonish, and some of them, and then of course you got real live images. Okay, and then you get it. So that's videos, and then you've got your library and gems. I'm going to show you shortly. So under let's create an image, which is Nano Banana. Okay, and here, and again, here's a microphone here. You can speak to it, and it will record your voice and give it the instruction, or you can just type it in. So we're just going to do a type and say, create an image of beautiful golf course. I love golf, so okay, with I say backing onto water, okay, onto a lake. All right, and oh, I'm going to show you the different models that are here that you can choose too. Okay, so that's going to create the image for me. Okay, in an instant, and I could give it. There you go. I can give it a lot more context, but I kept it simple. Okay, I could even say I can put my own picture into this and say use me in the picture. So again, it's all based on the context that you want to give it. And of course, you can see you've got colors on here. There's a variety of things you can do. You can even edit it. You can add text to it on here. So once you've got your image, there's so much you can do. But there you can see the lake. I can be very specific. I can tell it what country. I can tell it, background. So again, just a simple text. Now, that's images. Let's go to videos, and I'm going to choose one of these. I'll choose this one here, decades fashion. Okay. Okay, whoops, I chose it twice. Whoops, hang on. Okay. All right, so I chose that, and I'm gonna let's just create that. I'm gonna add my avatar. Why not? No, you know what? That's I haven't put the avatar yet, so I'm gonna actually go back to just doing just the video for now. Okay, so it's gonna use that example, but I could put my own avatar in there. So I essentially get replaced with the image that you're seeing there, but it's going to generate that video. And I've done some incredibly creative stuff with this, where I created an entire channel around tourism. And so this one is going to take a few minutes, so that's why I was trying to keep it as simple as possible. Around tourism, and just have a drone fly over different places around the world. And I actually created a whole channel around that. That's on Instagram and TikTok. So the video image snippet that you get out of this, there's so much you can do it. And yeah, it's saying it could take a few minutes, so it's going to do that. So while it's doing that, let's go to, we'll come back to that. Let's go to NotebookLM. Okay. So this is where under NotebookLM, you can start creating it basically allows you to import all kinds of videos, images, any document for a specific project or task that you want to do. And it'll search the web also too, and then it will come back with the results and summarize them for you. That's really, but one of my favorite things is asking it to create a podcast out of it. Now, I've already done an example, so I'm just gonna bring that example here first and then show you. So I imported my book, Reclaiming Digital Gold, into this as a really and ask it to summarize the book, and then I ask it to create a podcast of that. So under NotebookLM, I essentially upload the book, and again, you just upload the files here, or you can copy and paste text in. You can go to the Google Drive, you can go to websites, and just add that in. And this is the what it produced for me. So this is a 28-minute. I'm not going to play the whole thing. I'll just play a snippet of what this tool came up with. And now I didn't give it any context about the voices. I didn't give it about any context about a male, female. I just said create a podcast style with my book after you've read my book, essentially.
Hey everyone, and welcome back. Today we're going to be doing a deep dive on something that I think is really relevant to a lot of people these days.
Mm-hmm.
It's how to own your digital presence in this crazy age of AI.
Yeah.
And we're going to be taking Wayne Hinds' Digital Mastery mini course as our guide.
Okay.
But, we're not just going to summarize it.
Right.
We're going to extract the gold.
Absolutely. It's about going deeper than just the surface level.
Right.
Most people, when they think about their digital footprint, they're thinking about privacy.
Yeah, for sure.
Which is, of course, extremely important.
Yeah.
But Hinds really takes it a step further.
Okay.
He wants us to think about our data as an asset.
Interesting.
Almost like an income source,
Yeah. So not just hiding from the internet, but actually making it work for us.
Exactly.
That's a really cool concept.
Yeah.
Okay. So I didn't edit this. I actually it is on my YouTube channel. The whole thing is on. It's 28 minutes in length, and you can certainly go and visit it there. But the key thing here is what you heard. I didn't choose the voice. I didn't choose the people. That's the default. I can I can't do that. This session isn't about going deeper into the tools. This is staying at a high level. I just wanted to give you a taste really for today. But with this particular result that I just showed you there is was a simple prompt of take a look at my my book and summarize it and put that in the form of a podcast. Now, I just said I could be a lot more specific with, with the podcast speakers, the type of speakers, the male, two males talking or two females talking. I can get into that in the prompting, but I didn't. I just gave it allow them to use a default. And of course, I can do other languages too. That's the other thing about Google NotebookLM is you can do all of this in almost any language. All right, so let's go back to our video and see how it's making up. Still working away there. Looks like the video is taking a little longer than I wanted it to. Why don't we do this? While it's doing that, I'm gonna upload a picture of myself. And let's say we'll make this picture come alive. Okay. Okay, just a simple prompt. Bring this picture alive. It's not a very comprehensive prompt, but it'll do something with that, and we'll see what the results of that shortly is. Okay, so while it's doing that, it just takes a little while with there. So let's go to AI the studio. Okay, so this is on the AI. Let's go with Google Studio. And I'll call it labs. Okay, I know access it via labs. Okay, so let's go to all right, and here you have again the interface. It's really you can choose flow, Pomeli. It's going to just go through a variety of them here. And each one of these is what we talked about in terms of we can do stitch, turn your ideas into UI, vibes, just by copying and pasting it in there. Google Flow with music. So if you go to the labs, and I'll put this in the chat, go to Google Labs, and that's, as I said, kind of the center place, or Google Studio, the center place where you can get access to a lot of this. Now, it's not all of them that are there, but most of them are available at Google Studio or Google Labs. And let me just put this in the chat so I have access to it. And then we'll wrap up with any questions. Yeah, so today was really just meant to just at a high level to show you the tools that make up the ecosystem and not go into them in great details. I want to see if it's finished up that video. Oh, it did finish that. So let's okay. So again, my prompting was a very simple prompt. So I wasn't very specific about that, but here you can see it took, that's not me. But it improvised based on the picture that I gave it. All right. So it took the person and the context of what the person was doing with the jacket over the shoulder, and then it created that video that you see there. So I could have been more specific, but in interest of time, we keep it that. So that's it. I just want to cover that off today. Let me just go back to sharing. I didn't want to go into too much about the actual individual products. I wanted to make sure that there we are, that we covered off. We had a chance to see that in action. All right. So, any questions or comments before we wrap up? Future sessions will go a bit more deeper into each of these, but it's really more about, as I said, about the the high level ecosystem that people are not very much using Google on a regular basis and not aware of that. Okay, let me just continue here. Okay. All right. So now that you've seen them, it's really just about putting them to work. And you can play around with each of these. I'll make the links available to you. Again, you can go into Google Labs, so you can go to Google Studio, AI Studio. Remember Google AI Studio, and I'll put that in the chat. And then you can certainly access some of these. But the video will also be available too, so you can certainly go back to it there. And the one more thing I'll share just before we wrap up. Okay. Okay, I didn't mention this earlier, or I alluded to it that I do have my second book. That's actually my first book is coming out in the second edition, and in that book I'm making available an app that goes with it to be able to for you to be able to identify exactly what the internet knows about you, where your information is, if it's been leaked out there, and also really just put the power back into your hands to be able to control how your data is on the internet to the extent that you can with this app. It empowers you to get with where your information is. You're giving it basic information like your name and your email addresses, for example, not much more than that, and what username you may use, and it will go out and it will search the entire internet and come back to show you very clearly where your information is showing up, and gives you the steps as to how you can go about removing yourself from either a site. We can also provide you step-by-step instructions. Also, too, with Canada's laws, and U.S. is coming out with them too, that it will require organizations to remove your information if you ask them to do that. We give you the actual legal statement that you can send in. And all of that is in this app that will be available that comes with the book. The book was published in 2022 as being updated to the latest version with all the changes that's been going on in the AI world since it was published. Ironically, it was published just before ChatGPT, and now look at the world we're in. And so there's a new chapter on generative AI, which will also be a part of that second edition. And so keep an eye out for that. That will be in the coming weeks at the earliest. It will be available. And if you need to reach me, you can certainly book a meeting with me at through my Calendar, or you can drop me an email, or go to reclaimingdigitalgold.com, and that's probably the best way to connect with all of the things that I have available to you. Thanks for joining.